digitally. I am an analog guy in a digital world who I literally have my DVDs. I have my physical media. I have my album, my vinyl. I have my CDs. I have my DVDs. I just want a world where we have physical things. When we own something, we own something. We don't have other people telling us what we can and can't do with the stuff that we buy. If I want to be able to watch them, if I want to buy a movie and I want to watch a movie, I don't want in 6 months saying, well, you can't access that movie anymore because you don't own it. You just licensed it from us. And yeah, no, I'm a little testy when it comes to that stuff. And to start out the week, like let's do the week in review. Let's start off with a little bit of uh, something along that vein because uh, it has there has been a thing that has been pushing for a while about stop killing games, and honestly, with what has happened and what it has started to peter out, I think we should just change it from stop killing games to stop buying games. If you're not going to put in what we're asking for to be able to keep playing a game, I don't want to buy an $80 game and in a year lose access to it because other people have decided that they're not, oh, it's not their game. Maybe I like it. Maybe I want to keep playing it. Maybe you should do what a lot of these others games have done and allow people to have their own servers. Like a LAN server. If I could have a LAN server where I can go in with my buddies and play the game, then if you're not making money on the game anymore, you're not selling the game, you've shut down all of the other stuff. I've already paid it. Why should I lose access to my game that I paid for just because it is no longer cost beneficial to for you guys to run the servers? So, I mean, that's the kick in the nuts. Uh, so I wouldn't be saying anything about this if it wasn't for the fact that Pirate Software jumped up and bit this in the ass. And one of my favorite comments about this has been from Penguin Zero, Moist Critical, that guy. Let's take a look and see what he has to say. This is his update on, because he talked about it 4 days ago, and then literally because of the hate that Pirate Software was getting for his views, he was like, "You guys are brigading me. You guys are playing the victim." I used to like Pirate Software, but when you come out and say that somebody's view is whole ass and you don't agree with it and it sucks and they are wrong and you are vehemently and rude about it and misidentify or misquote the entire situation just to kill something, yeah, you lose me, bro. Let's see what Moist has to say.
I have no doubt most of you have noticed over the last 10 or 11 months I've been a lot happier. Glowing, really, radiant. You can tell probably just from my voice alone and this striking smile. So what is this?
If you don't know, he has been on vacation. He has stepped away from the drama, so that is why he seems to be happier. I don't blame him.
Secret to this newfound happiness of mine, the one trick doctors don't want you to know? I haven't been online as much. I've been going outside far more frequently, spending time in the real world. And as such, I'm sure many of you have noticed over the last 10 or 11 months, internet drama hasn't been a huge focal point of the channel because I haven't seen a whole bunch of it. I haven't kept up with the vast majority of it. And of course, occasionally I've still dipped my tootsies in some of it, like if there's something particularly wacky going on, and I still cover like news and crazy shit going on with aliens and all of that kind of.
Just before we get too far in it, yes, normally I will have a webcam up in the corner. However, as it sits right now, uh, I am waiting to get into the new space and don't have the webcam set up. Right now, I'm out of my little home office, and I have all of the studio stuff just stacked up. And honestly, I don't want to get all that on camera. Just stacks of boxes of stuff that's needing to move out. So eventually, I will have a webcam. Uh, but until then, uh, my beautiful little picture here is will suffice, I guess.
Thing, or if there's like a really cringe, prankster that got arrested or something, I'll still talk about that. But it's not like a fixation for me like it used to be over the last few years, where I was covering any and
Yeah,
all internet creator space hoopla.
yeah, he
And
covered
I
a
want
lot
to
of
keep it that way. I'm
he
having a lot
covered a
more
lot
fun
of drama.
doing that. That being said, there is something that has unfolded here that's like the John Wick killing the dog moment that's bringing me back, just very temporarily.
Oh no! Don't kill. I mean, he does kind of have the Keanu features, I guess, a little bit. With the beard and the hair. I guess.
And it's Pirate Software. Yesterday I talked about Stop Killing Games. And there's no way to talk about
Boo.
Stop Killing Games without also mentioning Pirate Software because of the profound effect he has had on that initiative in its demise. I say demise, but it's not actually fully cooked, but it has been on life support, and Pirate Software did play a big role in that because of 2 videos he made, as well as a stream, shitting all over it. And that's not even doing it justice. He was full-blown tooting on this. He was shitting on it with some fart on top. And a lot of what he was saying...
Literally, no, he was like, "That's ass. That's my whole ass." Like when he come out, literally, and just did nothing but like dog vomit and lie about. But he lied. He misrepresented the whole damn thing, the whole purpose.
about Stop Killing Games wasn't accurate. It was a misrepresentation of the
Yeah, see?
initiative. And the guy behind it, the guy spearheading it, Ross, finally set the record straight on a lot of the misconceptions that Pirate Software helped to put out there and kind of exacerbate these thought processes that just weren't accurate for what the initiative was actually aiming to do. He finally set the record straight, and I, of course, wanted to talk about it as someone who does actually care about it. Now, as I've said, I've been a little more off the grid. I bought a fucking farm, so I've been, living off the Lord's land recently, and I've missed a lot of the internet happenings. So,
I'll be honest with you, if that is not how you live, if you are not like off grid, not okay, not off grid, but if you are not like stepping away and having a getting out of the city, getting out of that mentality, you probably are way more stressed than those who do live in this. I have trees all around me. I have grass. I have a lot of grass that needs to be cut, but uh, while I'm still technically in the edge of the city, I'm not in a suburb. I am. I enjoy my space. It is quiet. It is away. It is all of that other fun stuff. So if you don't have the ability to do that, I suggest stepping out and uh, at least hitting up a park or something, because that's way more fun time than walking in concrete and smelling car exhaust and all of the other stuff. I've done that. I've been there for years. Happy I don't have to do it anymore.
Pirate Software's previous anime arcs of drama, like with World of Warcraft, and the one after that, 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 I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to. I only got little tiddlywinks, little morsels of lore about it in a few clips, so I never really even understood what was going on there. So Pirate Software's response to everything that happened yesterday really caught me by surprise. That was a subversion of my expectations bigger than Game of Thrones Season 8.
Yeah, Hutcher, I did. I think it's really hilarious to me that that entire community is so butt mad at me for putting out a video 10 months ago about their stuff and then not being refuted, and now it's my fault that everything is going wrong for them.
I cannot believe his ego.
Wait a minute. He said it's not been refuted, yet everybody who has brought this stuff up literally who has talked about this gets quieted, gets muted, gets banned. And so just because you don't allow people to talk and then say, well, you haven't refuted me, you haven't told me anything, well, that's retarded.
Ego is so out of control, I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin. And that's the truth, because Pirate Software said so. Some shit like that. It's crazy how he's responded. The smugness is nails on a chalkboard. It just makes you feel icky listening to it.
No, he is the type of guy that honestly I would, and I'm not a violent man. I used to be when I was younger. Now I'm an old dude. He is the type of person that when he talks, it makes me want to punch him in the mouth.
And he goes on that same talking point multiple times in the clip about how, like, oh, I guess I'm fully to blame. I guess because I made those videos 10 months ago, it's my fault entirely that this whole thing crashed and burned. Yep. Oh boy. Time to play a sad song on the world's smallest violin for the Stop Killing Games movement, all because Big Bad Pirate Software took it all down by himself. Like, it's crazy. No one's saying that. Like, there is no one out there that is saying it is entirely Pirate Software's fault that Stop Killing Games hasn't been more successful in its endeavors. But there's irrefutable evidence that you had a detrimental effect, a majorly damaging effect on Stop Killing Games because...
I mean, like everybody who I have read has talked about this. Literally points to Pirate Software's video and uses Pirate Software's videos to refute, to say, why would you want this? This is going to kill games in general, and yada yada yada. Like, this is terrible. Nobody's going to make these games if you have to force them to do this.
Because of your misinformation that you spread about it in 2 videos and across all your streams, and not once have you bothered to correct that record. And he has said that it hasn't been refuted in 10 months. That is fish paste. That is turbo horseradish. Go to your own comment section on your videos to see everyone refuting you, as well as the innumerable other gamers and voices out there that have taken down those talking points and debunked a lot of them and proven that you just didn't understand it. And that is the big problem. No one hates Pirate Software because he doesn't agree with Stop Killing Games. The reason so many people are angry at him, myself included here, you can disagree with the movement all you want. If you don't like the initiative, I'm not your fucking dad. You make your own choices there. But the reason so many people, myself included, do not like how Pirate Software is handling all this is he is outright refusing to just admit any level of fault, that he was wrong about anything. And that...
You know, like, this is the same guy who, like, got a whole lot of beef about something in Hardcore WoW. And he was like, oh, people are brigading me. People are, doing all this stuff. He's, for somebody who has pretty strong opinions, he seems to play victim really, really well.
Couldn't be more clear from these clips, as well as his tweets that he's made. It's actually his tweets that really sent me off the fucking rails here, off my gourd. Let's start with this little nugget here that he deleted from last night. So he tweeted directly at Ross, the guy behind Stop Killing Games, talking about how he made those videos 10 months ago, and since then, his community's been nothing but hateful. A scourge. A fucking tyrannid threat that he must destroy.
Imagine talking about your own community, saying that because I disagree with something, my whole community turned on me. Maybe you should think that, what did I say that turned my whole community against me?
Your community is fucking rabid, and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. Why do you think I haven't talked about this shit in 10 months? Why do you think we auto-mute anyone bringing it up in chat? Because it's been rage bait and shit-flinging the entire time. And just goes on about, like, how he is the victim of Ross's toxic, terrible community, which is hilariously hypocritical coming from...
I mean, I don't think it's Ross's community. I think it is his own community starting to see the BS.
Pirate Software, when in his videos and his streams, he makes it very clear and is very rude about how much he dislikes not only Ross, but the movement. And it's not like he's being very professional and polite about it, buttoned up. Listen to it.
So this was my first encounter of him.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful.
I'm going to actively tell people not to. Listen to that. I am going to actively campaign against you for this. And then turn around saying, oh, the video that I did for whatever 10 months ago is not at fault. Like, I guess it's totally, it's totally my fault. Let's run that back. I am totally going to tell people to not back this.
It is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No. Eat my
Your
entire
ass.
ass.
No,
The level of stupid
eat my ass.
that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that.
Tell me you're a shill without telling me you're a shill.
They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Ross and his community that are actually the assholes here. Brother, come on, you can't possibly be calling the wambulance with a side of french fries here about people being mean to you when you are literally the one that started the shit-flinging and name-calling. And by the way, Ross never even addressed this for 10 months because he didn't want to dilute the initiative into just having it be boiled down to drama between creators, which I think was actually very big of him. The only reason he's talking about it now is because it's at the end of its life, and so many people still don't understand it because of someone like Pirate Software misrepresenting it, so he's finally setting the record straight there. Anyway, he did delete that tweet, but just a little while ago, he made a new tweet, a very long tweet, as well as a series of tweets under it in regards to this whole thing. And in all these words, all this mumbo-jumbo, not once does he say he was wrong about anything. In fact, he just continues to double down, even proudly stating he is doubling down. Wow, how incredibly noble, doubling down on things you are provably, blatantly wrong about. We don't need to hit the Jumbotron for the replay on yesterday's video going over so many of the things that he was incorrect about in regards to the initiative. But the point is, that is an issue that I...
No, like, so for the quick recap, he has been wrong about single player. He was like, it was directed to single player games and it will kill MMOs and do all of this other stuff. But that's literally not the whole idea behind the thing. It's about being able to give. How many games have there been that when they stopped running it and they were like, we're not going to do whatever, so we're going to make a patch to allow you to do LAN games, or we're going to put out the server stuff, versus big games that come out and be like, I'm just, oh, you bought the game a year ago, our viewership is down, our playership is down, and our numbers are down, so we're just going to delete the stuff, and you have a game that you can't play. I have a stack of games that I can no longer play. And it's irritating, because I look at that as money wasted. Like, I wasted money and time playing a game that I enjoyed, and I can't do it anymore.
Really thought that he would address, be like, hey, yeah, I did get this part wrong. You're right, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to misrepresent it. I still don't fully agree with it, but I do recognize that I had some errors here in my coverage. That's what I was expecting. That is not what we got.
No, that's what we're hoping
It prompted me to reach out directly to him, to talk to him, to see, like, why isn't he acknowledging that? Is there a reason? Like, what is going on there? So I did. He made it very clear he was not very happy with my coverage of Stop Killing.
I don't really like his coverage for Stop Killing Games, so he can eat a whole ass. I mean, that's his favorite term. That's whole ass. He can eat my whole ass.
Games, which is fine. I think that's totally fine. I'm not going to leak DMs or really go in depth on our private conversation, but the point of me reaching out to him was to talk about his refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games. And
I don't even think it was unintentional. I think he fully intended. I mean, this is a Blizzard guy who's coming from that idea that if something goes wrong, we should kill it and just take people's money. You can't tell me otherwise anymore. Because everything he has done, everything he has moved forward on in this is pro games, pro you not owning the game that you purchase, and that's kind of I'm kind of over it.
It led to a just shy of 2 hours, like, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hang-ups with it. And when I would mention, like, the behavior aspect, like, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere. So I want to just publicly say this again.
So wait a minute. You gave him proof. He said, "Prove to me where I'm wrong." You say here, here, and here, and he turns around and says that you're bad for telling me I'm doing that. Yeah, no, that's, to quote him, that's ass. That's all ass.
There are plenty of things you can disagree with when it comes to the Stop Killing Games initiative. I'll put links to it if you want to learn more about it, and you can form your own opinions on it if you want to support it. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's super normal. And I didn't reach out to try and champion that Pirate Software should become, a huge ambassador of Stop Killing Games, out there on the fucking front lines fighting for it. It had nothing to do with that. It was simply about the misunderstanding that he showcased, maybe unintentionally, and the
No, it was intentionally. It was all intentionally. You can't tell me that at this point, you cannot tell me that wasn't intentional.
misrepresentation of it that he broadcast. Again, maybe unintentionally. Which has, in turn, over the course of 10 months, misled people on what the fuck Stop Killing Games even is in the first place. Which I found to be a problem because he's never even acknowledged that as something that has happened. And because he refuses to acknowledge that, and anyone that even, tiptoes around that subject, he kind of treats as though they're fucking idiots, like me, for thinking that he's misrepresented something. Now, he did just post a tweet where he said he talked to me and Josh Strife Hayes, and in that tweet, this will prove how useless our conversation was, unfortunately, there's not a single peep about misrepresenting what Stop Killing Games was about. It's more so about how the public just doesn't understand game development, and it kind of reads to me like we're all just too stupid to understand it from his side of things.
Yeah, no, he comes off as, you are dumb. Let me explain this. Let me break out my crayons and explain it to you, while being entirely wrong about his whole concept. And he can't. He's a midwit. He pretends that he has this giant IQ, and talks like he has a giant IQ, and has repeatedly proven. Like, dude, I like the guy. Like, I was there to bat for him on some of the several of the things that have popped up. But when you repeatedly goatsy yourself over and over again, yeah, dude, you turned me from, hey, yeah, I like that guy, to, yeah, fuck that guy. Like, he has done that. Not Moist Critical or Penguins, not Ross, not anybody else. Pirate Software has made me not like Pirate Software.
Our conversation basically amounted to toilet paper, unfortunately. Again, I was focused on, you have done this, maybe unintentionally, you should at least say that you have, or, are you aware that you did this? And then it became more of like, nope, I didn't. You're wrong. And then he uses our conversation at the start of this for something that was not even the focus. I was not there to try and convince him to be part of Stop Killing Games. I don't think we made any ground on, his perspective versus mine on Stop Killing Games. He has some qualms about how difficult it would be in certain cases. I agree with that, for sure. I still think overall Stop Killing Games is a net positive for the gaming industry, where something desperately needs to change with a lot of these awful practices. But for the 10 millionth time...
I don't agree with these couple things, so let's stick our head in the mud and let them continue. Got it.
In the last 2.5 hours, it was just about him having this awareness that his coverage did mislead people, and that he, maybe not maliciously or anything, misunderstood or misrepresented Stop Killing Games in numerous instances. And the way that he talked about Ross was unacceptable. That at least made it into the tweet there about the way he talked about Ross being like a fucking used car salesman type deal, and calling everything about it ass. He at least recognized that was too harsh. So he gave a quick I'm sorry for that, which is good. I do appreciate that, and I'm sure Ross will appreciate that as well, I imagine. But I still wanted to make this video after the conversation because I just really do not understand. I truly cannot wrap my head around why he fights tooth and nail coming for throats for anyone that tries to mention that there was misrepresentation in his coverage of the Stop Killing Games initiative. He is so hell-bent on proving he's right and everyone else is wrong that's saying these things. I just don't get it. He's just treating it like he's got the mega mind, once in a generation galaxy brain that no one can possibly understand. All us plebeians are beneath him, and we're lucky that he even graces us with streams, and we're stupid for thinking that he did anything wrong here in regards to his coverage of Stop Killing Games.
No, that is like 90% of the attitude that I see from him anymore. Like, I mean, maybe it was there before, but a lot of the stuff I saw was like him going through and like, here's how we're coding stuff, like here's doing thing, like going through and talking about this stuff. That was fun. But when you come around and you do nothing but like talk down to people because you have this pedigree and you're coming from all of this stuff and you did all of these things, yet you are lying about this stuff and fibbing and I'm not going to call it misrepresentation anymore. Like, if he's doubled down and tripled down and said whatever, that's the truth, then he's just lying. Because a lot of people have called him out on it. And a lot of people have tried to point out the flaws in his logic. And if he doesn't see the flaws in his logic, then he's just lying.
And what it's actually about. It's just so odd to me. Because if he would just come out and be like, yeah, you know what? Looking back on it, really reflecting, hearing what you guys are saying, I can see why this was so misleading for so many people. I didn't mean for it to be. And yeah, maybe I misunderstood some of these things. This would
Honestly, if he was to do that and came out and said whatever, I would soften a little bit. Because, I mean, he, you know, I don't want to like start off. This is a weird thing to start off on. Like, because it has irritated me for a while.
Would not have been nearly as big of a deal as it has turned into. And I went back and looked at some of his previous dramas, I suppose, and that is a common thread with pirate software. Like in World of Warcraft, he made a mistake, but he completely refused to acknowledge the mistake, and it made it a much bigger snowball into an avalanche for him, which led to a ton of other problems.
See, with that, I even gave him the benefit of the doubt on that. Like, the guy said to leave, everybody left, he ran, yada, yada, yada. Everybody died, and, you know, it is what it is, but he got, you know, it was like, everybody bail, everybody bail, everybody bail. And then when he bailed, then he got yelled at because he happened to be playing the healer. I mean, it was a mistake. That whole group could have done better, I thought. But just saying, hey, look, I made a mistake. You know, I was told this. I followed what I was being said to do, and you know, I may have messed up, and it cost a lot of people their characters.
He just has this inability to like accept that he can make mistakes. Like, he does things wrong sometimes. And he needs to recognize that it's okay to be like, yeah, I did do that wrong.
He's too smart to that. He never makes mistakes.
Right. I was incorrect in this. And it would save so much of a headache. But he just comes across as a narcissist. He really does, unfortunately. Like, I'm not an armchair Reddit psychologist here going to diagnose him as a narcissist or anything, but like, that's what it comes across as. He just refuses to admit that he ever does anything incorrectly. It admits no faults of his own, ever. Except, I suppose, to Ross here, which maybe this is the beginning.
At least he apologized for that.
Of a big character development for Pirate Software. He did apologize to Ross for how he treated him and what he said about him. I think that's great.
And you know what? If Pirate Software comes out and says whatever, I will and acknowledges the fact that he could have been misleading people. That he was trying to explain it from his point of view, and it did seem to mislead people and was not 100% accurate. I would say, okay, I'm sorry for whatever. But if you double down, triple down, all of that stuff, then eat my whole ass, to quote Pirate Software.
I'd love to see that same kind of energy for understanding where people like myself are coming from with your coverage of Stop Killing Games and why people feel the way they do about what's happened since with your responses. But anyway, I won't keep yapping about it. That's really about it. So yeah.
Yeah, so that has been that coverage. I don't know. Whew, that guy gets my goat. That's like the reason I chose that video was because it is he's a lot more understanding in his representation than I am, and that maybe showing that will offset the level of screw that guy that I have sitting in my craw, so to